So there's a lot of hateful right-wing talk show hosts in the country. Luckily, they're, in the words of Donald Trump, losers. They have minuscule ratings. Whatever audience they have is dying off. Ancient. These guys are on AM radio. They're broadcasting out of a cave. Right? There's not a single person under the age of 35 who listens to them. Their average age of their audience is... Bill O'Reilly on TV is at 72. These guys are probably older. But hey, if they want to correct me, I'd love to hear, in this case, Jan Mickelson in Iowa, what is the average age of your audience? Do you have any idea of that? What is the size of your audience? Do you have any idea of that? No, you're a sad, sad little man with crazy ideas that I'm about to tell you about, and you'll see why I'm angry about it in a second. But what do the Republicans do? So many of the presidential candidates on the Republican side in this election cycle go and bow down to this guy. And they get on his radio show and, oh, conservative talk. Yeah, that's mainstream. Yeah, that's what we believe. Yeah. I'll tell you about who those guys are in a second. But first, let's find out what this Jan Mickelson guy, who's influential in Iowa with his piddly little stupid radio show, is up to and what he thinks about undocumented immigrants. He's got a bold new idea. Let's hear him out.
As of this date, this is a totally arbitrary number, 30 to 60 days from now, anyone who is in the state of Iowa that is not here legally and cannot demonstrate their legal status to the satisfaction of the local and state authorities here in the state of Iowa become property of the state of Iowa. And we have a job for you, and we start using compelled labor. The people who are here illegally would therefore be owned by the state and become an asset of the state rather than a liability, and we start inventing jobs for them to do.
No, you didn't hear that wrong. He wants to turn human beings into property, into assets. Maybe you could sell them off. Maybe you could do a little auction. Maybe you sell one part of the family off to one job and their wives or their kids off to another part of the job. I mean, they're assets, they're property of the state, right? In case you were unclear about it, he said it's compelled labor. Now, that sounds like slavery, right? You think he's going to run away from that? You think he didn't intend that? No, you don't understand how hateful right-wingers are. They don't think there's anything wrong with slavery. Hold, you're going to get the quotes yourself. Now, let's go to the second part where he brings in Donald Trump.
Well, how would you apply that logic to what Donald Trump is trying to do, to get Mexico pay for the border and for the wall? Same way. If you have come across the border illegally, we give them another 60-day guideline. You need to go home and leave this jurisdiction. And if you don't, you become property of the United States. And guess what? You will be building a wall. We will compel your labor. You would belong to these United States. You show up without an invitation, you get to be an asset. You get to be a construction worker. Cool.
Yeah, really cool. Slavery's so cool. So one of his callers is going to call in and say, hey, it's a clever idea. It's not, the guy's not against them. He thinks it's a clever idea to maybe, oh, right, we had blacks as slaves, Mexicans as slaves. What a clever right-wing idea, right? But even the caller's like, it doesn't sound like slavery, isn't it? Now wait for his response. Watch.
This is Fred. Good morning, Fred.
Your idea is clever on the face, but it sounds an awful lot like slavery. I think it go over like a lead balloon. So
no, you just read the Constitution, Fred. What does the Constitution say about slavery?
Well, I don't have my Constitution in front of me, and like I say, it sounds like a clever idea, and maybe you could make it put it in action, but I think the fallout would be so significant. I think
what would be the nature of the fallout?
Well, I think everybody would believe it sounds like slavery.
Well, what's wrong with slavery?
So are you going to house all these people that have chosen to be indentured.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. In a minimal fashion, we would take a lesson from Sheriff Arpaio down in Arizona. Put up a tent village. We feed and water these new assets. We give them minimal shelter, minimal nutrition, and offer them the opportunity to work for the benefit of the taxpayers of the state of Iowa. All they have to do to avoid servitude is to leave. So you think I'm just pulling your leg? I am not.
No, not kidding. Literally said, what is wrong with slavery? This is a popular, I suppose, in Iowa, conservative talk show host. Has any action been taken against this guy? No, more presidential candidates went on his show after he said this. I remember we used to live in a country where this would have been the most outrageous thing you ever heard. And obviously the guy would have to come out and apologize, get fired, whatever it is. Has he been fired? Of course not. Of course not. At MSNBC, they sneeze the wrong way and they're apologizing. Full bend. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to the right wing. And you have right wing guys like this. Yeah, what's wrong with slavery? We put them in some sort of minimal housing, give them minimal food, and then have them work out in the plantation, and hey, what if they don't listen? Oh, well, we're going to have to compel them, right? I mean, it doesn't get into that. Maybe we can get a whip. I mean, if they're not listening, right? If we gave them minimal housing and et cetera, we get a whip, a gun. What do you want to do? What other physical acts would you like to do to your slaves? And he had the temerity to say, read the Constitution. The Constitution outlaws slavery. These guys, it's a punchline for them, the U.S. Constitution, the American flag. They don't believe in any of it. They don't believe in the idea. They don't believe in freedom. They only want freedom for themselves, the freedom to oppress the other people. You think they mean liberty for other people? No, the guy wants slaves. And he just uses it, punchline, Constitution, read the Constitution. Constitution's on my side. No, it's not. You're antithetical to the U.S. Constitution and the very idea of America. You're repugnant. And what is amazing is that guys like this now mainstream among conservatives and in the Republican Party. So, as Media Matters explains, his influence is so big that he recently hosted several 2016 GOP candidates on his show, including Carly Fiorina, Rick Santorum, and Ben Carson during their visit to the Iowa State Fair. Is anybody asking those people, hey, are you going to renounce this guy who's pro-slavery? Nobody's bothering to ask, right? Because if you're right-wing in this country, you can say anything you want. You can be the most outrageous thing. I mean, does it get more outrageous than being pro-slavery? What's next? Pro-Holocaust? I don't know. It stretches the bounds of imagination to figure out what could be more vile than being pro-slavery. This is the state of America now, and the lunatic right wing. So we think, okay, those guys came. They should apologize. They should say they're not going to go on the show anymore. But they came on before he said this. After he said this, after Mickelson defended his immigrant slave plan, Governor Scott Walker appeared on his show afterwards. Yeah, that's a right-wing radio host. We love those guys. Yes. What's wrong with slavery? And then there's a conversation about who's the good guys and who's the bad guys in this country. Who are you kidding, man? Who's more racist? Who's less racist? We're having that conversation. We're not having that conversation. Who are the vile, repugnant pricks in this country? And who are the good guys who actually believe in liberty, who actually believe in our Constitution, who actually believe in the idea of America? The Statue of Liberty says, give me your poor, your wretched. Give them to me. It's America. We're going to work it out together. We're going to be great together. What do these guys say? Oh, yeah, give those to me. I'll turn them into slaves. We're on the side of Statue of Liberty. We're on the side of this flag, okay? These guys are on the side of taking us back hundreds of years. Yes, there are good guys and bad guys in this country. Jan Mickelson, all the guys who go on his program, the Republican candidates who do, are most definitely the bad guys.